Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on your at, folks. It's your man, always George Page, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, I hate to start this out with this because, as you know, the plan was to have a guest on here and particularly to celebrate his upcoming competition, but situations happen, and where he's not going to be here today. That's my big brother, Mr. Big Keith Williams. But also, just saw this morning. Some people sent this to me, and also this is news that it's sad news. Again, just no more than a month after we lost another IFB pro. Our name was Mrs. Christine Bittner. If I got her name wrong, I apologize. She passed away suddenly. Don't know the details of her death. Ms. Bittner has been a pro since I think around about 2018 she last competed in 2021. She's from Texas, and she was known as being a great friend. I know particularly people like Michaela Aycock, Shay Queen, some other ladies who I know her as a good friend, competing with her. I even had some ladies reach out to ask me what do I know. I say no, I don't know anything because all I know is she died suddenly. So, folks, I want to do this and give a little moment of silence to Christina, and just say condolences to her husband Brent and all her family and friends that celebrated her. It's hard to lose a life suddenly, especially so young. She was 41 years old, so that's still young. I mean, that's still not even half a century yet. So folks, a moment of silence. All right, we might even talk about a little bit doing this, did the live. So rest in peace, lovely lady. So anyway, folks, as you know, today was going to be a one-on-one with the great one. Actually, with another great one, my man, my homeboy, my man, Mr. Big Keith Williams. Mr. Big Keith, he's been doing this thing with me for quite some time, past 2 years. I had a pleasure interviewing him and his wife when I first started doing interviews. Him and Tina are great people. They always keep me abreast of some things and show me support and show me love. And Keith's been through a lot. Right here, folks, we have a guest here. She is one of our author, I guess, the lovely Mrs. Nicole Strauss.
Hi, George. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
It's hot. It's very hot. I hope there's no noise in the background 'cause I have my fan on because I'm like dying back here. It's so hot here today.
That's all right. That's all right. That's fine. I know. It's this. It's getting over the hump when it comes to heat. It'll get cooler once we get into the end of September. But anyway, folks.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. We
Sorry
gotta
about that.
survive here. Yeah. We got a
Yeah,
long time for that. I live in the
yeah.
South. We're kind of used to it, so we adapted. But as you know, our dear friend Mr. Keith Williams is now he got hospitalized. I got a call yesterday morning from his lovely wife, Miss Tina S. Williams, and she told me that he was going through something. It was a situation. She explained it to me a bit, but I kind of like didn't get all the details of it. It's something with
Mm.
his system being compromised, and right now they're doing some tests and see how he's doing. Keith's been through a lot. Keith played football in the NFL for many years. He has been different other sports doing his career, and he started bodybuilding like about 20 years ago. And it wasn't that long ago that Keith was in a bad accident, where it was about 3 years ago, where he was hit by somebody who got into the wrong driving lane. He survived that. Then there was a series of surgeries since then and other stuff. And we're gonna have. Originally, plan was just gonna have a little one-on-one. Me and him talk about his plans for his upcoming this weekend because he was going to do Chicago Pro, but he had now because of this he has to drop out. I just this past Saturday I interviewed one of his clients, the lovely Mrs. Margie Entrus, and Miss Entrus, she is right now going to Chicago. The plan is that Keith is her trainer and friend, and he suggested her if you want to get your pro card, she was doing figure and doing physique. Hey, try to compete in this show here. You could have gone to she could have gone to Pittsburgh and did the also come that same weekend is the Teen Collegiate Master Show. But he said, well, let's try this because we can use the bodies. There's opportunity to get your pro card here. Um, we have the comments here. We shout to my man Damon J. Shout to him. He says, when does the list of competitors of Chicago Pro drop? Well, brothers, once I know about it, you'll know about it. You usually have to wait till all competitors put in your names and put in, and sign up, and then they make it official. Probably later this evening. So, and then you have a deadline to a certain time before you can put any more names. So, we're gonna wait and see. So I don't know yet. So, what folks, I'm going to do this. I'm going to play some video. This is from my very first interview with both Tina and uh, you know, Keith, back when I first started this channel. This was right about, I think it was 2021, I believe. And I reached out to them for an interview. This is, it's gonna look strange because it was my other computer I had, the one I used to have that was giving me problems originally, and then, it's, I think, the screen and stuff. But Keith really dropped some great jewels and stuff, and really was entertained by his knowledge and his, just really, he's a great guy. So we're gonna play this video so folks watch it, and we're also gonna go through more and talk about some other stuff, about Big Brother here. So give me a folks, and we will pull it up. It's already running. Luis.
I went into bodybuilding really not knowing anything about the sport, and was trained by a lightweight and doing his diet, and was a trainer at I think I started training people at Lifetime Fitness in Minnesota, and went on the stage and played second behind a guy that I didn't really think I should play second behind. And I was like, I don't know if this is for me, because I'm an Olympic athlete. I'm an NFL Super Bowl champion. I'm an Olympic athlete. And, and I was just telling somebody the other day, in my sport, the other sports I played, if I come across the finish line, I'm the winner. If we score the most points at the end of the game, we're the winner. And going into a sport, and I told somebody, to be honest, if I had to do it all over again, I don't know if I would have went into bodybuilding, because it's so subjective, so, and it's so, I was a four-time runner-up at USA's and Nationals and North Americans before I turned pro, so not understanding the logistics and the politics that go into the sport, I don't know if I would want to do that all again, because, sometimes the best athlete doesn't always win. Let's just say that. We're in track. If I cross the finish line, like I said before, I win. If we score the most points, we win. So I went to the sport, and actually when I did my first junior national show after winning the local show, and I was in a call out, and I basically didn't even know what a call out was, because everybody's like, man, I hope I make the first call out. I'm like, what's that? And out of 31 guys in the super heavyweights of junior nationals, I was the first guy called out, and then being the third. And I guess I kind of got hooked from there. And so I was stuck in the sport. So I was like, well, this is something I'll give it a run at and see how good I can do. And basically that's how I got into the sport.
That's interesting. Like you were in the NFL, and then you jumped from where people call more traditional sport to what we consider not as traditional. As bodybuilding is seen more as a pageant sport compared to like football, basketball, baseball. The sports that are been around for years that a lot of people usually watch in. Yeah. But like I said, but the good question is, how'd y'all two meet? How y'all get together and make this? Power couple.
How did what about the power couple?
We lost the audio for a second. What'd you say, George, about the power couple?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. How'd y'all meet the big couple?
Well, I was guest poster at a show in Iowa. Hello? Can you hear us? Can you hear us, George?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So I was the guest.
Yeah, I can hear you. It's technology. It's trying to catch up.
Exactly. Those feeds. Well, I was a guest poster at the Hawkeye Open in Iowa City, Iowa, and Tina was actually competing. And we had met a long time ago prior to the girl I was dating at the time was spray tanning, and actually spray tanned Tina, and she was married to somebody else. And it's kind of weird because that was 5 years prior to us meeting each other, and she was competing, I was guest posing, and we started sitting down and talking. And from that point on, we started dating, and then 7 months later, we got married. Literally.
Oh,
You know, you love behind the stage.
Well,
But like
the
I said,
funny thing is that neither one of us were looking to date anybody. We're both single. We weren't looking at. I was getting ready for the New York Pro. It was my second year as a pro, and she was trying to qualify for national. So both of us were so focused on our careers at that time that it was just something that happens. And sometimes God put people in your life for a reason. So 8 years later, here we are. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, George?
You say, yeah. Oh, is he all right? Is he all right?
Yeah. He's
Got her. Yeah, but like I said, and that's quite often happens a lot, because especially in this sport, there's a lot of couples that come together because you have that common bond in this sport. But also, there's a little bit of kind of underlying competition, even though y'all in separate divisions, there's still sort of competition in a way. Is there competition in between y'all two when you're at home, when you're in the gym, when you try to do an extra rep, or when you do an extra set or something like that, or
Well, we don't train together. I train with a couple buddies, and Tina's like a solo girl. She likes training by herself. So, and I get it. I like the camaraderies of my guys that I train with, and so we don't. I think this sport is so selfish, and people think a lot about that. We're trying to compete against each other, but we're in totally two different divisions. And my job last year when it came to Tina and not necessarily agreeing what was going on in her career is I'm the one decided to make the coaching change for her. I started coaching Tina when we started dating in women's physique, but when she went into women's bodybuilding, I thought that was a whole different genre of training and what you had to do in order to get ready for a show. So I decided that we need to find her a coach that can get her ready for a show, and that's what we end up doing.
And like I said, you said you studied under Melody Specco, and I follow Melody on social media. And I remember people say that they called y'all two kind of like twins, because y'all kind of looked alike. And and that's just it's great because even though she's from Canada.
Well, that's like I said again. This was a great interview. It was still early in my career because my technology wasn't that great, because I had a subpar laptop. It was what I had for quite some time, and and it was a great opportunity to talk to both of them and share their story about how they met, and saw little Caden, the little baby he's adopted at the time. They're both amazing people. Here we get comment here from a man. He says, I can see that you were a lot younger back then. I was just not that a lot younger. It was barely maybe, what was it? I was thinking I was maybe 45, 46 that year. So, I wasn't that much younger. It's just that I look clean shaven. That's what it is. When you see me clean shaven, I look like a lot younger. We have here man KL the Wanderer coming through. Yeah,
Hey,
he
what's
finally
going
come to
on?
scene of crime. Hey, hey,
Hey,
hey.
what's going on?
Yeah,
Hey, Nicole, what's
yeah.
up?
Hey Kay, how are you?
All
Yeah.
right.
Anyway, we were talking about our dear friend, Mr. Big Keith Williams. Right now, he's going through a little something, situation. His plan was to compete this year,
Mm.
and I think it's going to be sidetracked. He might, because last week we had a little discussion about retirement. I mean, being a bodybuilder and staying in the sport, and what's your feelings about Keith? I always want from any of y'all, how y'all feel
In
about Keith?
general, in
Yeah,
general,
yeah.
you know, he, I mean, for me, knowing him, like interacting with him, I mean, he's very passionate about bodybuilding, and he been through a lot. Like he went through hardships, a lot of hardships. Even as a teenager, I remember he shared that he was homeless, and just even like making it to. But he had some blessings. All those he had some blessings along the way too. He made it to professional football and stuff like that, and then he did bodybuilding, and you know, I I would say he gained a family through the people that he knew, you included. Yeah, like yeah. I mean, I wish him well in his recovery. That's all I can say. You know.
Yeah, I think he appreciates that
Yeah,
because you know what?
yeah,
You know what?
yeah. I really
Yeah, I really
I like him.
I like
He
him. He
taught me a
taught
lot.
me a lot.
Just from listening to the Muscle Talk
Just from listening to the
Mondays.
MuscleTalk Mondays.
He
Yeah,
the last convers I don't know if you remember the
I
last
don't know if you remember the
conversation we
last
had
conversation we had.
from
Well,
Muscle Talk
Cole,
Monday.
like you got something on?
You got something on?
Oh,
Because I'm getting a
you
reverb.
Get a reverb.
oh shit.
Oh shit.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Oh,
You're,
can you hear me?
yeah, I can still hear you.
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Oh,
I can still hear myself. I'm still getting.
I don't know about that
I don't know
echo.
about that echo.
You have to have something
You have to
on.
have something on.
If you have
If you
another
have
device
another
on,
device on.
Yeah, I took it
Yeah,
off.
I took it off.
And I put it away.
yeah.
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 Well, give folks give it a
Well, give
minute.
folks give it a minute.
We'll be straight.
We'll be straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Are you explain like the video? Like I seen the retrospect, but I was on the other tablet and stuff, and I don't know with the sound, you know. So I hopped on this one, but that's like
yeah,
your first interview with him.
yeah. It was first
Yeah,
year
it was first thing
with me. We still having
still
problems.
having fun.
Wait a minute. Let me
Let
see.
me see.
Let me. I think it's something with
think it's something with the
Nicole.
cold.
Was
Yeah,
it?
Was it?
Is
yeah.
it you,
I
Is it
think
Kid?
UK?
it's me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the fan. All right. Okay. 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 It's hot in my room, man. Like I don't know.
It should be the
It's hot.
fan.
Fan.
Wait a
It don't
minute.
sound like the fan.
So, is it me?
Is it me?
What it sound like to you?
It sounds like I'm
So
talking
like I'm
to.
talking
I
to.
know. I know what it
I
is.
know what it is.
Wait a minute. It can't be this.
Can't be this.
Let me turn this off. It's your headphones.
You hear it now? You hear the sound
Wait a
now?
minute.
Wait a minute.
No.
No.
It's the
Yeah.
fan.
Yeah.
I had to put
No.
it on, man. It's hot.
No. You put it.
No,
You put it. You put it back.
You put it back.
It doesn't matter. You hear it now?
Wait a minute.
You still hear this?
What is going
What is
on?
going on?
What it sound like?
It's I'm
I'm
echoing,
echoing.
but I know where it's
I
coming
know where it's
from.
coming from.
Maybe it's my headphones. I don't know. Is it?
No,
Oh,
No,
it wouldn't be your headphone.
wouldn't be your headphone.
okay.
So I have another.
Maybe
On.
maybe on.
It wasn't
It
there when
wasn't
we
there
first
when we first
started.
started.
Maybe check.
Maybe check.
I
Now
think
I'm hearing that sound. I don't know where's that sound coming from.
what it sounds like it's
Well,
coming
it
from
sounds like
me,
it's coming from me,
but it shouldn't
but
be.
it shouldn't be.
What's going on?
What's going on?
Hold on. I don't know if I.
It can't be your
It can't
fan.
be your fan.
It
All
It was
right.
sounds
my
like
it was my
y'all two mute
Y'all two mute yourself
yourself real quick.
real quick.
Hello? Yeah, it's coming from somebody. It's not coming from me. Maybe you have to
Maybe
restart.
you have
No,
to restart. No,
wait a minute.
wait a minute.
You hear
Well,
it? Here's something now.
what I'm gonna do is I'm
What
gonna
I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take
myself
myself
out,
out
and I'll come back.
about come back.
All right, y'all
Okay.
two can
All right,
talk
y'all
for
two
a
can
bit.
talk for a bit.
All right.
Okay.
okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go.
Oh,
Oh,
You hear something now?
hello.
hello.
Yeah. You hear me? Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah,
you.
I can hear you.
Oh,
But it's still echoing.
Still echoing.
it's still echoing. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it repeats everything I say. Oh, it stopped.
Um.
Oh, the echo went away. Okay, perfect.
Oh, that I think that's the headphones.
I
Damn,
took them
that's what
off.
killed all the whole time.
Yeah, I took my headphones off because I thought that's what it was.
That's what it is.
Oh, Nicole, you killing me right now. Yeah, because I took my headphones off. Like,
No, I took mine off too.
Yeah, I just wonder what it was. Might have been something on my. I don't shouldn't be something on my end. But anyway, folks,
Okay.
it's just yeah. We got here from a man. Shout out to a man, Executive 23. He says salute KL and panel. Thank you, brother.
what's up?
Also, he says this. He says it's echoing. Yeah, I just saw that. Also, it says, tell her to exit out and come back in. Yeah, she's everything's fine now. He says maybe you have a restart the screen. And he says now it sounds better. Yes, it sounds better because um, might have been something on my end or whoever's. I don't know, but
Can you
it's
hear
not as
me?
bad. Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
You hear some
Yeah, I
echo?
can hear you. No,
Okay.
no. I don't know.
All right,
Might
so
be. I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta put the fan on, man. This shit
Yeah, it's hot.
Wait a minute. Are you watching the live on another thing? Because I hear you talking about the fan.
who's me? KL? You talking about KL?
Yeah, who's that?
That was K.
Yeah,
Yeah. Who you talking to? KL?
yeah,
Hello?
yeah. There's somebody
Yeah,
else in here.
hold on. Let me see. 'Cause I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
this thing taking the whole time.
Yeah.
Hold on.
All right.
Hold on.
Well,
You still hear something?
let me see. What is that thing we have here? What's up with the audio? It's it gotta be something. Mute yourself, KL. See what happens. Okay. Where's it coming from? Uh,
You still hear an echo?
Slightly.
Okay, I don't hear the echo anymore.
Uh, might be something else. I don't know. But anyway, well, if there's echo, folks, I'll let y'all two talk for a minute and see if it's something with me.
I
All
don't hear
right.
an echo with you. I don't hear an echo when you talk.
You hear echo with me?
No, I don't hear an echo with you either. Okay, I don't hear the echo anymore. I don't even hear it with George anymore.
Hold on.
Well, he goes
Oh,
my man David J. He said this technical difficulty is always a pain when doing a live stream. I know. Yes, it is. But we're gonna march on. We're gonna march on. So as I said again, my man Big Keith, he's been through a lot through his life. Between his career as a football player, his life as a bodybuilder, and stuff he's been doing. He's been doing good work. As you know, a couple of days ago, I interviewed a lady who's working with him now. Her name is Margie Interest, and she is right now, as I said earlier, she's on her way next weekend coming to do her compete at the Miss International. As you know, Miss International is uh, IFB Pro women's bodybuilding qualifier. It's the only um, totally pro qualified for women's bodybuilding. My other shows might have it, but have like I said, not a lot of shows have women's bodybuilding like used to anymore. It's getting pushed out and for pro qualifiers. But this one is coming up, and Keith's been since then. He's been working with a lot of people. I know mentioned recently he had a couple of his clients just competed at a show, and here it is. I think it's a young lady here, a young gentleman that competed at a show. Pull them up. I think this young lady he mentioned, and her name is, I forgot her name is. I remember it, and she competed as I think she's doing either bikini or fit model.
Mm.
And then he had another gentleman here. He was competing in men's classic, and you know what? He's proud of being a coach, and I think that might be his future now.
Yeah.
We talked about it that maybe you don't need to be on the stage, but working behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. And also, he recently was about a year ago. He went to Pittsburgh, and one of his clients, Bruce earned his pro card. Bruce is a firefighter, and he went to the North Americans. He was there with his client, and he won his pro card, and that's exciting. That you see, what Bruce is doing now. Was reaching talking that Bruce was going to try to compete in the firefighters have a kind of game, but because of his bodybuilding, he had to make a choice between competing in the games of firefighter games or doing bodybuilding. I think, he made a
Mm.
choice, but Bruce Coates, new pro, and she's proud of him, and and he often sometimes show me pictures of his progress. I ain't to guys like that, but I appreciate any time when he send me his progress pics to see how he's doing. I know he sent me some last week as he was going to the Chicago Pro. Guy got killer back. I know he really wants the opportunity to compete one more time. As last year he competed at the Region Pro, and that was, he looked great. I mean, I was proud of him. He, like I said again, he went through a lot, and then had the opportunity to get on stage just maybe one more time.
What you and him was going to talk about, like if the interview was still on, like what how is he doing now?
Well, yeah, we're gonna discuss like how she's doing his prep, his thoughts about Chicago. He also was hoping maybe try to do the Masters Olympia in Japan, because that's coming up um, about a month from now. And he's maybe shooting for that show also, because I think he's already qualified, because he was, I think he has qualification at the Legion. And just like I said, shoot the shit, talk about other stuff that's going on in bodybuilding. And here's little Caden, the little baby boy. I think
How
he's
many kids do he have?
Uh, counting, Caden, Kansas, his other son Cody. I think he has at least about 5 kids altogether.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was talking with Tina that right now Kansas right here. She's playing softball. She stracked out a bunch of young ladies over the weekend. And his son Cody, he's was in Hawaii, but now he's moved to another school. He's getting married. His other son, his oldest son, he plays baseball. I
Okay.
mean, he's a proud dad. I mean, he should be a proud dad.
Yeah.
You took the time and invest in your children and raise them. There's a son, Cody, right there. His other son, right there. I mean, if anything, like I said, I've never been a father. I been an uncle most of my life. I love my nieces and nephews. Like they're almost like some of them. I would say about close as brothers and sisters. Others I might say as close as uncle and niece and nephew can be. And but Keith, he loves his family. He loves his children. And I feel like this, brother, take a step back. I think, I know it's in your nature as an athlete to want to keep on pushing and keep doing what you want to do. But, it's good to say, you know what? Let me take a step back from this for a minute. There's so much more to do outside of bodybuilding. He's like I said, as a while back, he was playing with a bowling team. They were doing some bowling, and even championship level bowling. The coaching he's doing, not just with clients and bodybuilders, also helping Kansas softball team. I mean, there's a lot you can do. Bodybuilding, you don't have to make it your life.
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm. Yeah.
Sometimes you
So
gotta
like,
hang up the jersey. You gotta hang up your jersey and stuff.
yeah, and especially as right now, There's some stuff we know. We recently, as I said earlier, we had a lady who passed away. She hadn't competed in 4 years, but she was living her life. And we, like I said, the last weekend where we were talking about retirement, and I might pull it up the video, and it was the last MuscleTalk Monday we had together, me and Keith, and we're talking about how we've seen like a lot of bodybuilders who have recently hung up the posing suits because you know what, bodybuilding, like I said, often we talk about how it's a hobby sport. It's not a sport you can make much of a living off of, but if you enjoy it, you enjoy the training, the process, it's something. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pull up, or we're going to look a conversation from our our live on Muscle Talk, and and I think KL, you were there. I think Nicole, you weren't there. I know you missed it. It was a
After
great
what the
conversation.
retirement, that was
Yeah,
like what last week.
last week. Yeah,
Yeah,
time flies. I didn't know it's already. And
yeah.
go pull up here. Give me a few minutes, folks. Yeah, I gotta.
Oh,
I was,
George, you know what I wanted to tell you? Because
hmm?
I wanted to tell you. I mean, you asking us just talk about Keith and like, well, what I liked about Keith, what I still like about it, what was the conversation we had about just putting like the sport into perspective, how expensive it is to compete. Let's say I only compete once a year because it's super expensive to compete. You don't
Mhm.
get much in return besides like for me, I don't know, I don't get any money back in return. I just get a lot of personal satisfaction, you
Hmm.
know, because I just it's a challenge for me just to go through prep and to get on that stage every year in my 50s. So, but no, he's like you really gotta think about what you want to do with your life, like
Yeah.
pumping all this money into it, but you're not getting no money, you're not really getting nothing back. So it's really for me, I don't know. For me, it's just an expensive hobby.
Hmm. That's
But
what it is.
yeah,
Yeah, because I know the lucky few who do make some money off of, which are the lucky few,
yeah,
they make a living off. But everybody else are just like how Keith often said, like this. You're trying to pay. You see for Paul to pay Peter.
yeah.
But folks, I'm gonna pull up this. It was me and Kay that day. We had some other people came on later, and we were just discussing, about retirement and bodybuilding and stuff like that. It's just a lot to it. So here we go. We'll pull it.
Whether it's 3 years, 2 years, because some people, like I told some people, I said, if I would have knew, honestly, if I would have knew going into this sport what the politics and the logistics was to the sport, I don't know if I would have ever competed because I'm a very competitive. And like I said, I was talking to a guy at the gym. He's like, it sounds like you're good at everything you do. I'm almost a pro bowler now. I love the scuba dive. I love the fun. I'm very competitive what I do. So when I fucking lose, it mind fucks me because I'm like, I start questioning myself. I've always been good at everything I've done. And now I'm like, why am I not having the success in this sport? Because I know I work my ass off that I have in other sports. Now, when it comes to women, it's a whole different entity. Like, the PEDs, because it's real. These women don't look like this for no reason. The diet, what you're giving up, relationships, all these other things to get to where you need to be. And some people just like the risk versus the reward is just not worth it at some point in time. To just like, it's like Lori came on about the Master Olympia. Remember when she went to Romania and it was like 30 grand for her to get there, right? And she placed 10th. Well, you got to step back and says, what can I get with that $30,000 besides coming to the show and placing 10th? You know what I'm saying? Flex Wheeler in his podcast said the first two shows he ever did, Ironman, he would win 10,000 at the Ironman. He would go to Arnold, when the Arnold was 80,000. That's more than his parents ever seen. But that's not the thing. And the money has quadrupled for men, and it's gotten better for women, but not nearly as close as the spectrum from men to women. So if I was a woman, I'd be like, and I was in a financial situation. What is her true goals? What is her health? All these things that we have to weigh versus, oh, she's only been competing for 3 years, this, that, and other. You have to weigh all those entities in. And I know that as a competitor, because that's what I look at as a male bodybuilder who, who our industry makes quadruple, like I said, the money that women make. So you have to also look at those things as well, KL. That's what all I'm saying.
Yeah. Here we got a comment from a man, Raheem Hamilton. He says this. He says, "Shot Raheem." He says, "The NFL pushed Tom out after his Super Bowl with Tampa. Hey, whoever he could have." And also, this is for David J. He says, "I always thought the turntables
looks absolutely phenomenal, and she's done a wonderful job. I mean, you know yourself, if this is something you simply flat out cannot do anymore, you have to make the choice. You have to decide what the priority is, and don't put this as a priority over family or relationships, because this isn't going to last, but those do."
Jeremy, you articulated it the best. It's like, what am I willing to sacrifice? And,
right.
And I remember, even as an amateur, I remember sitting at Junior Nationals with a good friend of mine, Miriam, at the backstage of the show, leaning on her shoulder and just sitting there crying for no reason. And it brought me back to a time where I was sitting at the baseball fields with my son, Cody, and I couldn't keep my eyes open. And I remember driving him. I had a big yellow Hummer at the time, and I'm sitting at a stoplight, and Cody's like, "Dad, light screen." And I'm like, I'm just exhausted. And I'm like, it's you. What people don't understand who are in this, who are not in this sport, is what we sacrifice. The time we give up with our children.
Exactly.
The time you give up with your family. The time you give up with your friends. The time, all these things start to weigh on you. And you sit here and says, is this really, 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 really worth, qualifying for Olympia? To go there and I don't care if you're the current Samson Dua or the Ronnie Coleman or the Jay Cutler or the Phil Heath or the Ronnie Coleman. Nothing's guaranteed. So you're sacrificing so much. And like I told somebody the other day about Ronnie, I was like, to be the biggest, to be the biggest man on the planet, and to have to, and now he's having really bad health issues right now.
Right, exactly.
And have children and crawl on the stage and be in a wheelchair. I understand winning titles and winning championships put your family in a good place. But at the exact same time, Ronnie has 2 degrees, master's degrees in economics and finance. He's a successful police officer, so he could do other things. I understand, if you got to listen to the podcast with Flex talking about, how he went after the money versus, when he knew Ronnie was going to beat him in '98 is when Ronnie was in the second call out, and Ronnie said, "I just signed a contract with Weeder," because there's no loyalty in this sport, and that's what we have to understand. There's no loyalty with the IFBB to any of us athletes in this sport. So it's like Jason Huss said it best, and he beat me at USA's in 2011, and by 1 point. And he's like, his article was, "I give so much to the sport, but get so little from the sport. So I'm sacrificing my family time. I'm sacrificing my health. I'm sacrificing my relationship. I'm sacrificing so much for this sport to not give me half the things I've given to the sport." And that's what people have to understand. And I get what she's saying. It's like, again, the only way that we're ever going to know the true reasons, and it sounds like, Jeremy, you kind of got somewhat of some answers. It's like you said, it's unsustainable to do it for so long. And she's only been doing it for 3 years. I've been in this sport I've been a pro for 12 years, and it's tough. It's super tough. So again, at the end of the day, we all got to sit back and say, why do these athletes, and I know my reason why, because I have a family and I have things that I want to see my daughter accomplish. I have things I want to see I want them to be better than me. And they're not going to be better than me by me sacrificing my time in the gym and the things that I need to accomplish, and that's being selfish as a parent when I've already played in the NFL. I've ran professional track, and I do all these things, and missing out on this time with them. I just, at the end of the day, some people's values and morals are different than others at the end of the day.
Right.
Yeah. We have a comment. Yeah, that is so true, because this sport is fleeting. it's as long as you're on top and you're doing well, it's all right. Nicole's back. I think she stepped out for a moment. She came back, and Keith often really drops some real shit, and I really appreciate that. Sometimes we have a back and forth every now and then, especially when it comes down to my girl. I, I know, I know I let it go, but every now and then it creeps in because he touched her. He touched her. So
George, you need help.
hmm?
You need help.
No, I'm fine. Why do
Yeah,
you think I need
okay.
help?
You need
Why do you
help.
think I need help? Why do you think I don't trust doctors? I just sometimes it just make things
You
make it
need
a little
some
worse.
kind of help.
I just do. That's what I need. That's just do. It's
You need
just to
some
call.
kind of help.
So why do you think I need help, KLA? Why do you believe I need help? You made him come out. You should have said that. You made him come
Yeah,
out.
I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, you can't help yourself. Media cannot. But yeah, you often give good points, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate when any of y'all come on here who share your thoughts about bodybuilding, be it if you're a competitor, if you're a fan, or just someone who just feel like there's more to life than just pumping weights and skin on stage and butt naked. But my man Keith, he's really determined about what he wants to do, and I think again he has a future, whatever he does. If it's not bodybuilding, it's just that he's doing some bowling. That's pretty good. Bowling is
Yeah.
it's very popular sport now. It's been popular for quite a long time. He's
Did,
still showing on television.
did you know like what was his? How did he feel when he was at his first show?
I, you mean his first bowling show? His
Yeah,
bowling
like
competition.
it's no bodybuilding show. Like that. I meant
Oh,
that's why I
it's been a
wasn't.
while. It was back in the. You got me back in the first interview. I think he was kind of. I think he said he was kind of nervous. It's been a
Uh,
long time. If I can go back and I can pull it, but it's back there somewhere in the.
it's okay. You ain't gotta.
Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah. But I think anybody who does a sport, you're gonna be nervous because I know I
Yeah,
talk to some ladies that tell me like sometimes they might get sick and puke or somebody get a little sippy sip. I remember we were
yeah,
talking with Stephanie Jones when she competed. She said she got a little sippy sip, because sometimes liquor make you loose with the goose. I used to remember
yeah.
used to play that in my used to work at the club. Loose with the goose. Dun, 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 dun.
Mm.
Ooh, just acting like a fool, you know. But he often I often enjoy his commentary about bodybuilding, just in life in general. The viewpoints he shares. Because a while back, remember when I first started this, it was me at first. I did this me at first. Then I had my partner Jared, and he was there for a couple of years. Jared moved on, and then it was about it was 2023 when he called me because he had my number. He called me and said, George, I've been thinking about because he has a YouTube channel also, but he hasn't been putting too much stuff on it. I've been thinking about, I watch your live stream. I want to do something like that. I say, well, okay, brother, just let me know. If you want to come on, just let me know. And he enjoys it because he gets to talk about bodybuilding. And also he gets to interact with other bodybuilders. We have people like Lloyd Conley, we had Mary Ann on here, a couple of ladies, and sometimes he'll say, like, if you don't see the ladies here, you don't want to come on. And sometimes you get tired of the same thing, we go over stuff over again. But then if we find something that he really sink his teeth into it, he loves to talk about it. And also he just did lives with me. Our man I just watched the video earlier. He has done some live for our man Jeremy. Jeremy of of Dawn Female Muscle of
Yeah,
Physique Fam.
right.
And I think it's on his. He tagged Jeremy. Jeremy tagged him something, and it's on here. It's from one of his. I think one of the lives he did a while back. Quite a few lives. So we'll pull it up here, and give me a sec. My computer is sick a little slow. And where is it? Here we go. And here it is. It was me, Jeremy, and Janine Mikowski, which I think it was like from his channel. Fundamental.
Absolutely. There was one other subject we got into discussing this, Keith, before you showed up backstage in the studio, and it's concerning what's happening this weekend in women's physique in the class show. And here we've got the competitor list, which they posted, and it's that name right up there at the top. Natalia Abraham Coelho is seeing fit to start competing again with regular pro shows. And if anybody has followed this woman, when she gets started, she's like a force of nature. She can't be stopped. Like when I double checked within the past, it's like here, she's like, what was it? From 2020, most of it 2022 to 2023, this woman went on a tear. IFBB Pittsburgh Pro, first place. New York Pro, first place. Muscle Conscious Brazil Pro, first place. Then she wins her title at the Olympia. Then Pittsburgh Pro wins again. New York Pro wins again. Competes at the Mr. Olympia. Competes that year. 2023 gets second. Atlantic Coast Pro, first place. Then she finally takes a break from competing. But it's just when this woman gets started, she can't be stopped. A female bodybuilding channel posted a really interesting post about that because this has caused quite a bit of debate. Among fans and competitors alike, is that because thanks to them removing the point system, every single one of these pro wins was another pro competitor that was removed from the Olympia field, because qualification, you have to win the pro show. And so that was the question they asked over there is, should she be allowed to compete as a pro? Should she not? Should she withhold competing as a pro so that other people can do so for this reason? And that's caused lively debate in the female muscle community. So I know, George, if you could reiterate, and Janine could reiterate what you were saying, and then Keith, I'd love to hear your thoughts too.
Well, she's been on my live stream a couple of times. I'm not a big fan of Natalia. She's impressive physique, I would say that. I feel like this. When you come into a show, and some ladies actually reached out to me saying, this one lady told me, we talked about this before, how she comes in and do these shows. This is the first year they're going to have women's physique. I will understand maybe most definitely a show like New York or Pittsburgh or hell, even the Arizona Pro. She's done that before. I don't think she won that show, but she's done it before. Those are, I would say, big level shows. But then this show is a new show, and it's not that big of a show. It only has women's physique division. And also they're doing, it's a master show too, because you have 40 plus and 50 plus. And 40 plus is qualify you for the Olympia. So you come in here, you have somebody like one person's also the list is Amandi Koliamandi. And she competed with Natalia at Pittsburgh. And then you remember Emily Sherbert that year when Natalia won the Olympia. Emily did both Pittsburgh and New York. And I even said to somebody, Emily should just skipped it because she got a qualification in Omaha. Why did she just skip it? She want to compete. I understand you want to compete. You want to see you test your medal against a top level competitor like Natalia. But when you do a show after that and take second again, you're just wasting your time and your money.
Especially if there are no points, right? Like if it's points, it's a little bit different. When we had the points, it was a bit more fair. But let's be realistic. Do you know any other Olympians that go out and compete to the other show? No, they don't want to. Their focus is on the fucking Olympia. Their focus should be on nothing but the Olympia. If you're one of those top athletes, that should be your focus, not all the other shows.
Okay.
For an example, when I was even an amateur and I had qualifications for nationals for life because I won my province, right? My only show was national to turn pro. That was my big show. That's where I put all my energy. I didn't do a warm-up show. I focused on one thing. All the top Olympians never, did Phil Heath go out and do another show? You know what I'm saying? Did Dexter, when Dexter was competing, did he? No, he stayed where he was, right? And same with Iris. Iris never did anything except for the international on that, because those were her top shows. Andrea Shaw stays in bodybuilding, stays in the Olympia ring, right? If she had to requalify, I would see her come down. But they're taking spots. She's taking spots away from others, and you're losing the steam. The athletes go like this: "Fuck it, why bother showing up now?" I have trained my ass off to be at this show, and now she shows up. You see what I mean? Like the tension is there. The tension is there. She doesn't need to qualify to the Olympia. She's already qualified, and you're an Olympian, so that means you're always qualified because you already have that win. Am I not wrong, Keith? Is that right, Keith? Once you've won an Olympia, you always have qualification.
Oh yeah.
So then why
Juliet Bergman came back and competed in 2000. Sorry, go ahead.
Taking money and taking positions from other athletes. I find that very greedy. There's a bikini girl that does the exact same thing. What do you like? You're trying to get all these other titles. Like it's heartbreaking for the athletes. It really is. You work your ass off to get there, and then all of a sudden she shows up. She shouldn't be winning just because she's an Olympian. There could be somebody better on that stage that day. She shouldn't be winning because of her name. You know what I'm saying?
Cheese, what do you think?
You're mute, brother.
You're mute, brother.
Oh, sorry. I'm going to play devil's advocate here. And it's this simple.
I am too, but go ahead.
Dexter's done it. I've been to Tampa Pro. Janine, you were there as well. Dexter rolled his ass in there. He rolled his ass in the New York Pro. And the reason why Dexter was doing it because he wanted the 51 wins and made him the most winningest bodybuilder in history. Samson Dua has done it, being a top 3 guy the last few years, and now he's a champion because his logic was the people in my country doesn't get to see me compete. So he went to Romania, I think last year, he was 3rd. He went to the Czech Republic show. He did the France show right before the Olympia this year. I think he made it in like 305 and won that show. But he's like, I am giving the fans what they want. And here's the thing: if you talk to Flex, you talk to Sean, you talk to Kevin, you talk to all those guys back in the 90s would right after Olympia would just go on the circuit and do a bunch of shows. And he goes, our athletes these days are fucking pussies. They're lazy. They should be doing more shows to give the fans, because you guys are fans, give the fans who don't get the opportunity to go to the Olympia because the shit's expensive to see them, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, here's another perspective. I don't know this girl, but no offense and all, women ain't getting paid what they should be getting paid. So if I can collect checks, I can collect checks. Now, who is this on really? It's on the IFBB to sit here and says, okay, if it's like when they change national rules, I can say this, and I'm a primely limited example of this. I was 3-time runner-up at USA's Nationals till I turned pro. 4th time I turned pro. The year I turned pro, they changed the rule that 1st and 2nd place at Nationals would get a pro card. So Dave Palumbo calls me and says, well, how do you feel about that? I go, are you fucking shitting me right now? What kind of question is that? I would have been a pro 3 years ago if they would have had this rule. So the question, the answer to this question is they need to implicate, okay, the person who comes in second, because obviously she's qualified, should have that spot going to the Olympia because it's not always going to be the same girl. So they can fix this problem, but they're not choosing not to fix this problem because if you sit here and say, okay, you can do these shows because to give the fans what they want, but the girl who comes in second is going to get that Olympia qualification because you're already qualified, that solves the fucking problem. But they're not doing that. That's the problem. They're not doing that. So I understand what everybody's saying, but come on, let's just be honest. Those checks that, Janine and Tina, especially if, like the show they were in, top 3 get checks, 4, 5, 6 don't get no check. So, maybe she's chasing the paper. I don't know what her expenditures are. We don't know what her expenditures are. But the way you resolve that problem in essence is saying, okay, go ahead and do these shows. But the girl who places second is going to get that Olympia qualifying spot because not the same girl is going to do the same shows. You know what I'm saying? So that makes sense. And Samson Dua just said, and if you ask Flex and Sean and Kevin and all these guys who went on tour, who did all these shows at the Olympia, they said our era of bodybuilding, we're soft as fuck because especially I wouldn't say the Mr. Olympia, but all the other guys, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th guys were all going to circuit together. That's where Ronnie finally beat Kevin and Sean and became the 8-time Mr. Olympia because they were all on circuits. And what did Ronnie say? I wasn't bitching when I came in 15, 13, 12, 9, 10, 11. And then finally he beat him after years and years. But guess what? All those guys are on the same circuit together after the Olympia. So we forget about that. and we forget about the essence of these girls are not making much money, not even in women's physique. Women's bodybuilding and women's physique are making the same amount of money, which is not very much money to cover their expenditures. So in order to fix this problem, basically you say, okay, Natalia, now you want to do this show? Cool. But that Olympia qualification is going to go to that second place girl in every show you go in. And I think that will fix the problem. That's just me. But that makes too much sense, though.
What they do, he he really, like I said again, the brother dropped some great information. As he referred to the bump system that I think some people like to talk about, where if you have someone like Natalia or any other competitor that done a show and already got the qualification for the Olympia, then the first runner up should get the title. You can get the money, you can get the check, but if you already got your spot, like if you someone like anytime if Natalia does any show and she wins, like the last show she did was Pittsburgh, and she won that show. No, actually that show was New York, because Nikita, you were there. She was at New York. The girl who took second to her, who was that? I think that was Amanda Machado. Amanda should have got the qualification. She went and did Omaha. Then the show before that was Pittsburgh, and Rachel Daniels could have got the Olympic qualification because she hadn't done the Ultimate Classic, and that would get the opportunity for other competitors to get their Olympic qualifications in the other shows. But it's always going to be debate on that. But Keith does make a good point about it.
Did he ever do, like, outside of you? Did he ever did like other interviews?
Yeah, I think he does some stuff with I think he mentioned he did stuff with what's it Generation Iron. If I can find it.
Oh, okay.
It's probably somewhere on there. It might be some really old stuff. I know he's talking about how sometimes he used to do interviews with him and Kai Green. If I can, I really, he also remember he also has his own YouTube channel. So if I can find it, if I can find it, if I thought I was subscribed to it,
how many followers he got? Yeah.
I don't know.
But you can wait. You can check his Instagram.
Yeah.
I mean his YouTube page.
Yeah, but Keith. Like I said, I really enjoy when we get to come on here about every Friday, every Monday, and just sit and just shoot the breeze, talk about stuff, and even laugh, and I sound like the mother did. No, he's not dead. He just gotta really take care of himself now. He has to really take the time. And
do you know what, like, do you have an idea what happened, or you're not sure?
Well, what I was told by Tina is some kind of compromise of his system, because he's been going through for a while, but he just put it off because he wanted to shoot and do this show, the Chicago Pro. We talked earlier today. He said he's doing fine. They just run some tests on him. He just has to take the time and to cover. I did find a video on him while I was sitting here looking. I'm going to pull it up here and show it y'all. It's a little something he did, a little ditty. I think for somebody else's YouTube.
You're blurring up, George. I don't.
What?
You're blurring up. Your screen is blurring. Looks like it's blurring up. But forget it. Forget it.
My name is Keith Williams. Been in Minnesota now for 1995. I went to St. Cloud State. Played football there. I ran track there. I left school early in 1996. Can you guys hear me? Hello? Hello? This is for the camera. I went to St. Cloud State in 1995. Played football, ran track there. I ended up leaving school a year early because I was the #1 indoor track and field 60-meter runner in the world. So at that time, the USOC, the United States Olympic Committee, decided to move me to California, to Chula Vista, to get ready for the Olympics in 1996 in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'll be back to that in a little bit. Originally, I'm from South Central Los Angeles, California, Compton, California, which is probably one of the worst places you could possibly ever live. I started my athletic endeavors when I was 9. I started running track for a team called LA Jets in Crenshaw, California. I didn't really know what my talent was and know how good I was as far as athletics was concerned. It was just a way you get out on the streets there every night in Los Angeles. Game like there is terrible. So I didn't really, actually, the funny thing is I didn't really even get into athletics, real athletics, until my freshman year in high school. Didn't get to play pop-up football, didn't get to do Little League baseball and that stuff because my mom was a 17-year-old crackhead. So basically from the time I was a freshman in high school till now, I've been pretty much raising myself. In high school, I lived in 4 different families. Basically, just living with friends just to get by. But I always tell people my story. I don't ever like for people to give me a pity party and feel sorry about me for my story. I feel all the things I've done in my life are things that made me stronger and a better person and persevere over all the things I've been through. I went to Escondido High School in San Diego, California, where again I lived with 4 different families. I really didn't have, to go back farther my freshman year in high school because, I was still trying to find myself. I was a leader of a gang, a Mexican gang, which was really weird. For a year, black guy Mexican, what the heck is that all about, But I was just trying to find myself, and, I realized, I didn't know what kind of talent I really had until one year I went out for track, and I went to go out for the track team and ran and started winning and winning some races. I had 2 people, there's some people in my life that inspired me to be the person I am, to be making the standard today. And 2 of those people are a couple called named Rick and Pam Hansen. Rick was my offensive coordinator in my high school, and Pam Hansen was my track coach, and she was an elementary teacher who was Rick's wife that was down the street. And he was my offensive coordinator, and she was my track coach. And I went off to the track team my first year, and I was still, running the streets, doing my thing, and but I was an athlete, so I was one of those guys who just naturally gifted, go out, run, play football, and just be good at it. And I remember I didn't come to practice one time and, came out to the track meet with my stuff, swagger on and everything. And she goes, "You're not running today." I'm like, "What? What do you mean I'm not running today? I'm the stars of your team." And she goes, "You're not running today until you learn discipline to show up at practice and all that stuff." So they sat me down, when they told me, they said, "Well, until you start doing the things you need to do with the talent that you have, you're not running on this team." And I was like, "Okay." I played football my freshman year. The funny thing is I couldn't catch a cold. I was fast, could hand me a ball, run, I couldn't catch a cold. But I went out there, I worked hard, they got some people to work with me again. I had never really played organized sports until I got to high school, so I didn't really know what it was all about. I tell kids these days, I said, understand this, your parents who are investing time in you in Little League football, Little League baseball, youth basketball, all those things, take advantage of it, because some kids never have that privilege. They have to wait longer, some kids don't ever get that privilege. So I always tell people, it's a privilege. Right now, I train youth athletes for a living, and people are, and these people are going to hockey meets or hockey games and football games and baseball games, and that's a lot. And sometimes I get a little jealous. I'm like, man, if I just would have started at that level, how good would I really, really have been? But that's the way life is. So get back to my high school career, I went to Escondido High School and I played football there. I was a 2-time All-American in San Diego. I was a 3-time state champion in track and field, based off of after dealing with Rick and Pam and Tom Everest and Bruce Ward, my athletic director, Bob Clay, my vice principal. These guys all had faith in me that I could actually do something with my life. They told me I had to get out of my game and I had to focus on my studies and I had to become more disciplined in my endeavors. So I was like, okay, I have to leave my buddies. But I figured that wasn't getting me anywhere anyway. Most of the guys, that I had ran in the game with, 2 of them are in jail for life for killing somebody. 2 of my buddies are dead from getting in a car accident.
And I started seeing all these things go on around me, and I'm like, okay, this is not for me. Now I have a choice to make. And I always tell people, I'm not a person of excuses. I've never been a person of excuses whatsoever. You can go east or you can go west. You can make the right decision, you can make the wrong decision. I just decided to make the right decision. God bless it. And so through my high school career, like I said, I was two-time All-American, three-time state champ. My senior year in high school, I was the #1 hurdler in the nation for high school track and field, the 300 110 hurdles. Me and a guy, Brian Bronson from Texas, we would just battle back and forth all year long. And then my senior year in high school, I was getting ready to go to Tallahassee, Florida for the Junior Olympics. I was the first youngest sponsored athlete by Nike. And that was a big deal to me because, graduating from high school, I'm being courted by every college in the country. My life's on a good path now. A lot of people didn't know my story. Actually, one day this paper wrote this story about how this black kid who lived with all these different families and nobody ever knew because I just, ran my life as I was a normal kid, but nobody knew any of this stuff. Wrote this article about how, my whole life journey to where I got to. Well, it was an onslaught of letters and support for the community in which I came from. It was great. So summer comes, my senior year in high school, me and my buddy decide to, go to a going away party that we have for me in San Diego, and we're driving down the road, and all of a sudden, a car comes across the median, hits me head on, me and my buddy, shatters my vertebrae, broke my jaw, and I'm down for 4.5 months. I go to the hospital, it was life from the hospital that night. It was life from the scene. I don't even remember most of it. I was life from the scene to the hospital. And I woke up, had a halo on my head, my mouth wired shut, and a doctor from India told me that I'm never, ever going to play sports my whole entire life again. Never any kind of impact sports ever. Now, put yourself in my shoes right now. My athletic endeavors is my ticket out. I was the smartest kid in high school. I wasn't. I'm not going to sit here and mind you guys say I was a scholar because I wasn't. I barely got into high school. And now this is my opportunity to make something in my life, and it's all been taken away from me. It's done. The doctor comes in and tells me, you're never going to play any kind of physical activities ever again. And I'm like, I can't even talk to him because my mouth's wired shut. So that makes it even worse. I'm like, sitting here thinking to myself, what do I do now? So I stayed in the hospital for about 2 weeks. Finally, I was released to my foster parents. Just walking around with a walker and a halo and depressed. And right, you gotta realize, now in my senior year in high school, you got some big kids these days. So my senior year in high school, and this sounds funny, I said, I look like a little skinny Somalian kid. Seriously. That's how little I was. Maybe my senior in high school, I was 150 pounds soaking wet. I was fast as molasses, but I was a little tiny kid. So now, mouth wired shut, halo on my head, I can't eat any food, I gotta drink everything liquefied, I'm losing weight, now I'm getting depressed. So I'm sitting there at my foster parents' house, I'm like, well, what do you do now? Do you let this beat you? Or all the things that you've been through in life, with your mom being a crack addict, leaving you soon, in high school, all the things you overcome, do you let this beat you or do you conquer? So I decided to conquer. I decided that I'm not gonna let anybody tell me or dictate my life, period. And that's what I did. So started a rehab program, ended up having Charlotte, wherever now you realize every college, UCLA, Florida State, Arizona State, USC, all these colleges are now gone because it's a risk factor for them to take to sign me to a scholarship because if something happens, my career's done, and based off the doctor's report, I'm not supposed to play any sports ever again. So that happens to me, and I go through all this rehab, do all this stuff. I end up going to a small little community college called Taft Community College, with 2-time national champs in football. Now Taft is infamous for track and field and for football. This is a school where the most talented players in the country go to who don't have good grades. And most players come from Florida, Louisiana, North Carolina, and then California. California has 125 community colleges. They have some of the best football ever as far as community college. So all these guys are trying to figure out their lives and get there. So he dropped me in this town. And now you understand, Taft is a town of 1,500 people, one stoplight, one McDonald's, a bowling alley, and all white people in a town, and a football team of all black athletes, and a track team of all black athletes. So I'm like, what the heck, yeah? You know, I wake up, I go there in the dark, I wake up with the light, and all I see is oil rigs around me. What the heck did they take me? But it was a place for me to study on, they were willing to take a chance on me, a place for me to get my studies right, because again, I wasn't the best student, but take a chance on me. I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? Am I going to leave this place and go back to San Diego, where all my friends are doing nothing, and be stuck in the water, or move my feet and make something of myself? A year later, I graduated from Taft Community College. Actually, I transferred from Taft Community College, went to Lane Community College in Eugene, Oregon, ran track for Nike International. Played basketball there as well, because I was a basketball player. Eugene, Oregon didn't have football, so I had to scout a year. I was offered a scholarship by St. Cloud State. It was my one opportunity, by several, but St. Cloud was probably the most warning at the time, opportunity to come play college football on the track. So I jumped in it. Went to St. Cloud State in 1995, became all-conference, All-American in track and field, All-American, all-conference in football. Again, now I leave St. Cloud State in 1995 or 96, year at the Olympics. Now I'm the #1 track athlete in the country. So from that point on, I go to USLC in San Diego, start training, get ready for the Olympics. Right before the Olympic trials, I'm at practice. My agent at the time was Jimmy Gould, the Reverend Boy Stringer, who we all know passed away. They want to know how fast I ran 40. So at the end of my practice, I'm standing there, like, how fast this guy ran 40? My agent, I never ran 40, didn't know what the big deal was. The football field was 100 yards. So I was in there saying, who cares? Last practice, run, tweak my hamstring. Dang it. What's going on? Like, oh, you just hurt your hamstring, we'll get it back together and everything else. Obstacle. I'm a month away from the Olympics. This is my opportunity. I'm the #1 track athlete in the country at the time, in 100 meters. And I'm hurting. What do I need to do? So I rehab, do my work, keep continuing to run, keep continuing to train, end up going to the Olympics. Got to the third round of the Olympics. Hurt my hamstring again, but I was also on the 4x100 relay team. Ran 3 rounds of the relay team, and the doctor looked at me and goes, if you run anymore, you're going to blow out your hamstring, your football, track, career is over. So, being I was already ran 3 rounds, I still was able to get my, people still wanting me for us to lose to Canada and get a silver medal, but we ended up getting a silver medal losing to Canada. After that, I started trying to figure out, so my next endeavor was, I knew that track and field would catapult me into the NFL if I had a really good, medal at the Olympics and all these other things. NFL teams and most other things because everybody don't play football. Went out to the Denver Broncos in 1996 for a workout. My agent called us the Denver Broncos and see me want to work out. So I'm like, all right. Talked to Jack Elway. Went out to Denver. They said, workout was 40, bench press, vertical, all that stuff. And went out to Denver, ran a 4.2 flat 40, first time. Second time, ran a 4.16, it was my second time. Vertical, 36.5, bench press, 225, 21 times, and they signed me right on the spot. I left to my hotel before I even got to my hotel. My agent goes, you want to be a Bronco? I said, yeah, sounds like a good idea. What other plans do I have right now? So signed with the Denver Broncos. Played with the Denver Broncos for 2.5 years. Went with them on the practice squad to the Super Bowl. You guys were almost supposed to get there, I think, in 1998. Then played the NFL Europe for 3.5 years. My second year in Denver, my second half year in Denver, I was saved to the Green Bay Packers. You guys are good, right? They moved me to defensive back end. At that time, I played there for a little bit. As a kickoff punt return, defensive back, because they moved me from I was playing running back in Denver, but at the time, Terrell Davis was running back, so I was getting much playing time. So moving to a new position probably was a pretty good idea. So moved to defensive back, I played for the Packers as a kickoff punt return there. Defensive back, played diamond nickel package, had a pretty good time there. Then later in my career, I decided, football just wasn't for me. I had a bad concussion, actually, put me out for about 5.5 minutes. It just never was the same. So from that point in time in my life, I said, what do I do now? I'm playing football, too big to run track anymore. What do I do? So I just got into the world of bodybuilding, and that's where I'm at today in my journey. Started competing in 2006. Do a little local bodybuilding show, didn't even know what I was doing, and had a little fun with it. Took off a couple of years from it, started doing it again. And now I'm the #1 amateur bodybuilder in the country. Unfortunately, I've been a 6-time runner-up in the last 6 pro qualifiers that we had in the country. You can only turn pro in 3 shows a year. That's USA Championships, North American Championships, or Nationals. And I went to all 6 shows and I've been runner-up. But my idea is, the best quote, I actually just read it from my trainer who sent me, my former trainer, says, a man's character is not by what he's made of right now, so a man's character is made up by how many times he's been knocked down but can pull himself back up. And I've been knocked down a lot of endeavors, coming from the streets of Los Angeles, being hit by a drunk driver, overcoming all these adversities. My message to kids always say this: never make excuses for yourself. Never make excuses. I train right now to this day as I compete in bodybuilding. I train athletes. I train some of the top YZ athletes, that's cross-country rivals. I train a ton of hockey kids in Maple Grove, soccer girls. And my message always to them is this: always give 100%, 10% effort in everything you do, and always be passionate what you do. The Philadelphia Flyers coach, I love watching and listening to other people to educate myself, to inspire other athletes to do great things. Be passionate in what you do. Because if you don't have a passion for what you do, it doesn't matter what you do. You're done. If you don't have a passion for football or school or whatever sports you play, it doesn't matter. I've had a passion for everything I've done. I've learned everything I've done. And now my passion is training athletes. I was telling my athletes yesterday, I train the Maple Grove Osceola youth hockey PBs and Bantams and Bantam D1s and Thomas when I crossed my routes. And I said, I feel everything you guys feel because I was an athlete. I walked in you guys' shoes, but be passionate about what you do. Care about what you do. Care about your brothers on your team. Care about your family. Here in school, goes into the locker room, steals $10, gets kicked off the wrestling team. The only way he gets back on the wrestling team, they said, I'll move him into my house, take responsibility for him, and all of a sudden I got this kid living in my house. Whoa, okay. Isaiah now, make a long story short, Isaiah now, when I moved him into my house, he was a sophomore in high school. He was a senior in high school with a sophomore education. He basically was the same story as mine. Mom was a drug addict, didn't really have much going on for him. The moral of the story is if you care about somebody or you see somebody, and I'll tell parents this too and everybody, if you see somebody or you see one of your teammates or somebody struggling, help them out. I'm gonna tell you, Isaiah, the only reason why Isaiah was in my house is because his teammates from Isaiah High School came up to me that I trained and approached me with the situation. And that's the reason why that kid was in my house. Isaiah now graduated from high school, went to college, and is in special ops in the Marines in San Diego. And no better feeling is to see some kid like that not make it, because I wrote a paper in college called Being Statistic. And that was, right now, honestly, where I came from, I'm supposed to be dead, in jail, or doing something that I'm not doing today. And the funny thing is somebody was like, you always smiling, you always laughing. I'm like, because where I came from, you're happy, Western suburbs. I live in Whiteside right down the street. I could never imagine myself being where I am today from where I came from. So that's why I tell the athletes and people of all colors, of wherever you came from, don't make excuses. Excuses don't sit very well with you. Let's say, take yourself out of your shoes for 1 second, put yourself in my shoes, and ask me, what would you have done? Because life's like a lot of excuses about, I always tell people, you gotta keep your feet moving. Don't get stuck in mud, don't get caught up in hype and endeavors. I just told my hockey team last night, they're number one, they just came number one in the state of gold. Don't get caught being overzealous or thinking that you can't be knocked out because somebody around the corner is fine. I take that with me every day I go to the gym because I'm the number one guy, still as an amateur, and some guys always trying to take me out. And I have a good team of guys around me that support me. I always tell people, surround yourself by successful people. Doc Howie, my brother Stan, who's one of the number one bodybuilders in the country, my fiance, my kid. Positive people around me.
Attention staff, will Mr. Boswell and Mr. Bowen please report to room 2604? Mr. Boswell and Mr. Bowen, please report to room 2604.
Well, folks, I'm gonna take a break on that because that's.
But anyway, so I always like to share my story with people and tell you, inspire.
That is, I think, it really tells you about a person, what they've gone through, what they had to go through in life. I've been blessed that I had a good family. I grew up poor, still poor, not as bad as I was before. Keep anything about my older brother James, and he was, he was the man of the house. My father, my mother broke up a long time ago when I was 5 years old, maybe about five. And my mom left her because they went through a lot of steps. My brother, he stepped up. He went to college, like he went to college for a while, but then on a football scholarship, he came back home because he wanted to work. He was living with us, and he did some stuff like we had our first air conditioner. We used to have a fan. That was how we kept out of school. We had fans, and he bought an air conditioner, and then he bought a microwave. We can, when you have to back in the day, if you want to reheat something, you had to put it on the stove, put it in the oven. So I appreciate him. He makes me think about my older brother James. He didn't grow up in South Central, and our mother was never. She never took. Well, our mom's biggest habit was tobacco. That's it. She used to do snuff, but she did tobacco. But he's an amazing person. We have some comments here. Shout out to my man David J for sticking in here. He says Chelsea Dion won a show, then did another show, taking this spot from Nadia Capasotto. Yeah. And also he says this. He says Nadia Capasotto did the same thing last year. She did 2 different shows, even though she was qualified and didn't have 2. Well, she did it before that. In 2021, she was qualified for the Olympia when she won when she was qualified to Olympia. She did the what was it? She did the Remaining Muscle Fest, and then she did the Big Man Weekend, which was after that one. So she did it twice. Or about to say what's that? So, folks, that was a great little interview for our dear friend, Mr. Big Keith William. We're not gonna be on here too much longer. If anybody wants to talk about some other things that's coming up, you're welcome to speak.
I don't really have anything to say to pertain to bodybuilding.
Yes, I mean, like I said, what you guys to say?
I went to go see a Superman movie, on Friday. that's the only thing outside of bodybuilding. I thought it was. It was. I don't know what to call it, man. It was. I don't know what to call that movie. It was something else. I know on the internet. I know during the internet, they're not really talking highly of it. A lot of people not talking highly of it. I don't think it was bad, but it wasn't. I liked the Henry Cavill Superman, and you didn't really get to see that that series kind of goes anywhere. So that's it.
Well, the problem with that one because really they just didn't really best into it. They wanted to be a little bit like they were trying to do from the universe from the Chris Nolan universe of Batman. That didn't work. The mistake they made with Superman and Batman was it was too soon. Too soon. I think they should have went ahead and get.
It was better than Man of Steel to me. It was better than this movie. I mean, this movie it was like I mean, it's James Gunn, so it's and people talked about it like it was like Guardians of the Galaxy, really. Like it's like comedy. It was goofy, man. Like it was goofy, like you know.
Well, you remember when the Cavill movies came out, people didn't like that either. First, same thing when they had Rob Pattinson as Batman. Same thing is people always going to compare the last series to the next. Sometimes, like one example that Superman movie before the Cavill movie with Brandon Roth wasn't that good. What it was that it should have didn't pull from the old Superman movies. It should have did
I
its
didn't
own
really
direction.
think that was that bad. I mean, that Brandon Ross.
Uh,
I mean, the only thing. I mean, it wasn't that. I thought it was better than the Batman Begins. Really, in my
hey, hey,
opinion.
hey, 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 hey,
I'm dead
that's
serious.
blasphemy. No, no, no,
I
no,
don't care.
no.
I
That
think
movie made
Batman shit. That was
no,
fucking tease. Only thing I liked
no.
about Batman was him being Bruce Wayne, and like he was trying to find himself in that. It made it more like interesting and dark a bit. But the rest of that shit was like a tease. And the Heath Ledger, yeah, it was he wasn't bad as the Joker, but it was like I don't know. It took it to another. I think he was the best villain out that freaking series, tell you the truth. But other that shit wasn't all that. And I thought that Superman, like I don't know, maybe they need to leave Superman alone and then they don't even find like a villain outside of Lex Luthor and whatchamacallit, they
Here's the
outside of
problem
Lex
is
Luthor and Zod. That's it. Like they
here's,
put
here's,
like Brainiac and
that's the
some
plan.
other superhero.
That's the
I mean,
plan for the next movie.
super
But
villain.
that's the plan for the next movie. But the thing is, Lex Luthor has always been established villain in Superman lore. That's one of his biggest enemies. And even though you have Zod, yes, Zod was only in the second Superman movie with Christopher Reeves and the first movie with Cavill. Those are the villains that really are part of the Superman lore. Brainiac, even though he's known in Superman comics, a lot of people don't know him as much. It's just be the ones that I think more people are familiar with because a lot of people don't follow the comics as much as do the movies.
They can make it still interesting. I mean, because they I mean, look at Deadpool. Like, he wasn't a popular superhero like that, and it made money. So I mean, they could find a way. Like, it's not like they can't.
Well, this is always the thing. Remember, the same actor played Deadpool, played Green Lantern, and that movie didn't do that good. So it's always going to hit or miss depending. Oh, right here, where so long as we have Nicole here, she put out a little video. She did a session with a lady we both got a pleasure interviewing, Samaya Sowar. And I'm going to pull this up, and it's on YouTube. You want to check it out? And Nicole, you can talk about it a little bit while we got you here. So we're going to pull it up.
Okay. Who's that?
I believe it's you. Here it is. There we go.
Yeah, you look very nice.
Saturday, July 12th. Oh, today was a really, really big day. I did my first YouTube production. And I want to give a shout out to Samaya because we did a video collaboration together. She's also a professional bodybuilder, wellness IFBB pro. We did a leg workout today. I want to give a shout out to Shaquin, who's holding the camera right now. He is my new videographer. He did amazing work with us today. So, yeah, I'm still in prep for my competition. But in between prep, I'm working on some different projects. So, I have some more big things coming. But thank you for tuning in. And yeah, doing big things. Have a good day. Peace.
Look at her shoulders. Yeah. I wouldn't mind rubbing her down after a workout. Remember, Nicole. Where must have her smokes on here? We use before
Why is it when you do it that it's funny?
Because I know how to
why
work
is
it.
it?
It's called talent, and something you might need to
Yeah,
work on.
what kind of you ain't that funny. It ain't that funny.
Don't be a hater. Hey, oh wow. Hey,
It ain't that funny. It ain't that funny.
Yeah, like
it's
call me
not,
Suki Johnson.
He's not creepy. That's why he's not creepy when he does it. He means well when he does it. That's the difference. Some guys come up with
No,
creepy
okay.
and perverse. It's just not creepy when George does it. It's like it's George. Like, come on, we all love George, right?
Yeah, y'all trust George and stuff. So I don't know.
We love you,
George,
too,
we
Kay.
trust.
Definitely love you.
We love you. I remember Brother Love. I love you. So, remember that? You should love that. That Brother Love character from WWF. But back to my man Big Keith. His story is something I think a lot of people should really, really listen to. This is why I'm doing this. I was hoping, like I said again, we do a back and forth, a little interview, and we have a little fun here, like we usually do. But right now, I hope he's doing well. Probably might call him in a couple of days, let him, heal up a little better. I want him to get, his best. As you know, I hope he's able to be in the corner of his wife and his client at the Chicago Pro. I was thinking about watching it, but like I said, right now I got some financial things coming up, and also, it's just, it's opportunity for him to really reflect on what he wants to do in his future. Anybody got anything to say here? We're here. We can shut it down.
Oh no. I forgot. Tell Keith I wish him well. It's always a pleasure hearing what he has to say because he does have a lot of knowledge. He taught me a lot just by listening to his experience and some of the stuff that he's been through. And he also gave me some perspective. Like last time he spoke, he was just talking about both we're in our 50s. It's like, come on, like not really getting no money out of it. I mean, like I said, it's a very expensive hobby. So you really got to, just make some. I'll have to make some important decisions. How like many more years I want to compete because you put a lot of money into this every year. So, but as long as I love the sport, I'll compete. But yeah, it was just really nice hearing his perspective because based on his experience. So I wish him the best, and I wish him a speedy recovery. And so, tell him I said that when you speak to him.
All right, I'll make sure. And we got you, my man KLA. Before we let you go,
No,
you have
I don't
anything
got
to say?
much to say, man. I mean, it's OPP fine. That's it, man. It ain't really much to say. So.
Well, folks, like I said again, he is a great, amazing person. Sometimes one of these days, I would love to meet him in person. I'll be like, remember the movie Golden Child with Eddie Murphy says, "My dear brother Nancy." That's how I'm gonna do when I see him. I mean, I'm hoping maybe in the future I do get the opportunity because maybe if he ever gets, he's not, as he says, he probably gets to sit back from competing. But if he ever gets the opportunity to maybe work the corner of one of his clients at a show, or if it's like a big show, and hey, you know what? Let me just say, George, I'm gonna be at this show. Okay, I might come out there, just see you, talk with you, and see how things going. I'd like to do that in the future. I would do that more also in my future because you know what? I want my channel to really grow. I want to really get myself out there. Because I'm looking at my man David, he's doing pretty good. We were hoping he was gonna be here, come in. Also, I'm man, Jeremy, hoping he was coming here, and a lot of people who follow this channel follow him and support him. People reach out to him, let him know that you care, that I will say, I won't say speedy recovery, but healthy and safe recovery, because it takes the body. It's tough. It's tough, especially what he's been through and what he thinks he had to do and how he survived. Most people would have been broken. Any other man would say, you know what, they would have gotten to drugs or alcohol or some shit just because they needed something to help with the pain, but he didn't do that. He went on and did something better. Now he is training and helping other people, not just in bodybuilding, outside bodybuilding, helping young children, found something else to do other than just bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is a passion sport for him. He loves it, but he has to understand that it's time to focus on something else. So that's all I have to say. Also, again, I want to say condolences to the family of Christina Bittner. Um, it just it's so sad for somebody so young to go. We don't know the details. It could have been anything, an accident or something. She could have been sick for a while. That's why she hadn't competed for the last 5 or 4 years. It's just some things happen. There's no explanation to it, but it's sad when it does. Hate somebody, especially if somebody like people like I know Kid Aycock, she posted on her social media as a good friend of hers. Some of the ladies that know her that I've interviewed told me that's a good friend of theirs too. I posted also on my IG. You can go to my All the Way George page. I posted something, little something, to give my condolences. If you want to just say, ma'am, best wishes to her. I won't say best wishes. Best, it's all the best to her and her family. And just it's just sad it happens, but that's how life is. So, folks, I'd like to thank my man Damon J for coming through here and supporting his comments. My man XA Gucci 23 for coming through. Thank you, brother, as usual. Anybody who watched this live, thank you for support. Show love and support to our dear friend, Mr. Big Keith Williams. His story is just, I think about every man's story, but you know what? Everybody has a different path how they get to where they get to. And as long as you can keep, like I said, Rocky Balboa said like this, as long as you keep moving forward, that's how winning is done. So I thank my guests, KL the Wanderer, the lovely Mrs. Nicole Strauss coming through. I appreciate y'all's support and best of luck for whatever you ever do this week.
Yeah, I appreciate
George,
you.
thank you, Kay. Appreciate you both, of course, as always.
All
right. Yeah. So, folks, as you know, folks, I'm going to go out and just say a shout out to my dear friend, my big brother, Mr. Big Keith Williams. Brother, I hope you're doing well. Hope you're recovering. You got your wife and your babies around you and everybody else around you that love and support you. I'm one of them. And I can always say, just come, hey, take a break next week. I'll do something. Me and Mikhail might do something wild next weekend. Take a break. Maybe we'll have you on maybe the end of the month. So thank you. So thank you again, always who's here. I appreciate your support. And I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your week. And reach man all the way to his page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Like, subscribe. I am out. Wait a minute. Okay, here comment here. Which is from Damon J says hardcore female bodybuilding channel is excellent as well. Claudio, I think that's his name, does a great job. He does. And also he says female body forum channel is awesome. Yeah, he's growing. My man David is growing. So folks, shout out to Damon J for sticking in here. Shout out to Nicole and shout out to man KL and anyone else who watched and listened to this video. I appreciate you truly. And reach me on the way George page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Like, go back, subscribe. I am out. Good night.